Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Christine. Here's my coffee. Happy May. Sorry, I'm a little late. We had a little bit of a technical difficulties, but happy May. Since it's May 1st, we're gonna go with something light, and we're just gonna look back in the journey so far and see the things that I've done and the things that I've done and the things that we've learned. And there's a lot of them, which is good. My baby's up. He's sniffling. Okay, so one of the things that I think regular people assume is that it's gonna cost a lot of money when you're running for office, and that is somewhat true. But I don't think it's not as much as I guess you think, but it depends. I'll let you guys decide. So to file to file the form, you need about a little bit over 5 grand to file a form. There's a way, and I want to make. Sorry, let's rewind. I just want to say I want to make this video because I want people to have that knowledge in case they plan to run for office for governor. This one is for governor specifically. I know that there's of course some similarities when it's running for other positions, but for the most part this one that my experience is, of course, is for a governor role. So going back, initially I was thinking of creating, and I actually did, created 2 YouTube channel, one more personal, and those are for my friends or for people that's just trying to do research, and then one is more of the political side, and that is with the intention that there are expectations when you're running for office to be a certain way, right? To be always professional and sound smart, I guess, or whatever the case may be. Initially, that's what the intention is. So some of my friends, they get a little bit confused because we have this channel right here, which is the official page, and then we have another channel that's a little bit more, again, personal and things when I talk to my friends and just kind of, I don't want to say goof off, but a little, be a little bit more myself. But a few things I realized. So one of them is that I don't have the time. I don't have the time to maintain 2 YouTube account. And also, which is a big thing because being practical and knowing the resources that you have, I think is important. And then the second one is that there's a lot of expectation for this role, I think, and there's a lot of expectation from a lot of different people. I don't know who made the rules of what should happen, but I just realized maybe they don't know what they're saying, and I'm just gonna do my own thing, because I think it's important for people, for voters, to know the real person, because all these politicians, right, and all these candidates, which is there's 61 of us, they're all people, like they're actual people, and sometimes I think people forget that, and it's not really anyone's fault. There is a lot of performative politics. So there is almost this giant pool to make sure that you're pleasing everyone. But this is the kicker. There's 39 million of you. There's really no pleasing everyone. So might as well do it my way. And I've had this a lot in my career where you come in and with everything that I am, who's perhaps, sorry, I come in with everything that I am, and they see someone different. I get a lot of comments about people having expectations and then not seeing that expectations. Usually impress them, which is good. But going back, I just realized, and that's why I want to make this video in this channel. I just realized that who made the rules? Who said that we can't talk like a regular person? And we might as well, because if I'm gonna get your vote and if you're gonna get to know me, I'd prefer that you get to know the real me, because to if I win and I have to lie to you for 4 to 8 years, that would kind of suck, and that's not the intention. Um, so about $5,500 to, let's look at the logistic, about $5,500 to complete the form. There's a cool way where if you get 6,000 signatures, you'd be able to remove some of that fee. I forgot what it was. It's like 80 cents per signature. But 6,000 people is a lot, especially since all this needs to go to a form that is specific to the county. So for example, if you're LA County, then it has to be a form, a different form for that. And then if you're in Riverside County, then it's a different one for that. So, and in addition, it needs to be witnessed. So you can't just like mail it to your friend and say, yo, can you please sign this? Because it's not going to work. By law, you need to be the one witnessing it. So I do want to give a shout out to my wonderful friends who were able to help me attain a lot of these signatures. I didn't get 6,000 because you also need at least 100 signatures to actually put you in the ballot. But you need to talk to 100 people. And I want to give a shout out to my friends, especially Therese. So she got a lot of signatures. She's just working hard and going door to door, especially since she's already so busy and she was giving a lot of her time, and her husband. I want to give a shout out to Christine also, my other friend, and the two of them were very instrumental in making sure that I get a lot of these signatures. In addition to that, there is a lot of legal requirement, which makes me happy to hear. So for example, you need to submit a lot of your tax document for the last 5 years. You need to submit all the possible relationship you have, and also all the potential conflict of interest if you have individual stocks, for example. I'm pretty poor. I'm just kidding. Like I don't have that type of resources. So it's, I guess, easier. It's a little bit easier, but it makes sense for people who are running for candidacy, for running for governor, to have to pay a lot of money for people to handle these requirements, these legal requirements. I want to give a shout out to my husband, who did all the research and who did all the paperwork to make sure that we are compliant and that we're able to be put in the ballot, because they're very strict, which is good. In addition to that, in addition to those requirements, there's a lot more money that's involved. I want to show you guys this one because I had a paradigm shift, and I love paradigm shift. I think most people don't like to be wrong because, you know, it's a little bit annoying. We want to be right. But I like it when I learn, especially when I learn big time. But I'll let you guys decide. So this one, which is my friends are like lovingly showing me that I am there. If you notice, first of all, not everyone's here. And the reason behind it is that you have to agree to not spend over $11 million to be in this ballot. So that means right off the bat, you know where you're gonna, you know, what type of move you're gonna make. As you can see, Hilton, I don't think Hilton is here. I don't think the billionaire guy is here. I don't think Mahan is here. So you'll know what type of caliber they're going. And then the other interesting part, and this is my page, is that what do you say? What do you say to put this? And it's funny how we created this, because this picture, which is not the most flattering picture, unfortunately, this picture was taken right while I was running to go to nursing work. So my photographer was trying to like make sure that I get that picture right next to our wall to get that submitted, because you need it submitted. And the other interesting part is that these words is, and this is the paradigm shift. The words cost $25 each, every single word. So when you look at all the candidates, and some of them have long ones, and some of them have super short ones, don't worry, they don't put a short one just because they don't love you. They put a short one because it really is very expensive. And it was pretty upsetting because it's like, oh, it's that's kind of not cool, blah 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 blah. At least that was the old Christine. Old Christine was 12 weeks 12 weeks ago. But the paradigm shift is that this is sent home. This is sent to a lot of homes, like millions of homes in California, and they have to print this. So you do need to pay to be part of like this, almost like advertisement. So that's the paradigm shift that I realized, hey, maybe it's not so wrong of them because you have to pay for the paper. You have to pay for the words, for the ink. You have to pay for the mailing. So, and we actually spend a lot of money in these type of things. I'll probably look at it if I win, because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't utilize it. But yes, $25 per word. And I think we were thinking a lot about how much we're willing to spend on this because, again, the funds that we have, we're trying to be very deliberate in terms of what we spend. So that's the paradigm shift. And I'm happy to have learned that. Let's see, what else do we have? So I need to be comfortable being in front of camera. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, I have no issue at all talking to people. That's actually my forte. Whenever there's a hard conversation, regardless of the setting, it could be from the company, the private company, it could be for nursing. It doesn't matter. I've always been, that's always been my strength. In high school, they actually call me the senator because I'm able to present, to people. That's something that I enjoy and something that I welcome. I remember when we were doing the mass COVID vaccination. Initially, we had tiers, as maybe some of you remember, that first you only get vaccine if you're 65 and older, and then healthcare provider, and so and so. So some people, they are able to obtain an appointment online. So they come to us and they insist on their vaccine. And there's a lot of them. It's either they're aggressive or they're sad, whatever the case may be. And they actually call me. I'm the one who comes down and talk to these people. Not necessarily just because of my role, but because usually I have, I'm able to communicate with them effectively, not in a way that you twist their arm or anything like that. I'm able to talk to them in a way that they would understand pretty much the position that we're in, and that they are able to participate and take the higher road and help us protect the community. But recording is completely different. I'm looking right now, and there's like people in this live chat. Hello. And that's intimidating because you don't know, it's like talking to a glass. There's people behind it, but you can't see expressions, you can't see body movements. They're not talking to you. So that part gets intimidating, and there's a lot of rules. I just learned that you're not supposed to say you're tired, which in nursing we say you're not supposed to say it's quiet, because that's when everything happens. But I need to be comfortable speaking in the void, I guess, and that's a skill on itself. But it is what it is. This is kind of who I am. I don't really have the time right now quickly to be exactly who people want me to be. So I'm just trying to be myself, but also, of course, maintain that professionalism as much as I can. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking. So, like right now, as you can see, my voice is not as happy, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more. And and it's kind of fun. When I for my friends, I usually would send this in my personal social media, the link to my live recording, but it's so cringe in the beginning that I cannot um I cannot put them in a bad situation where they have to watch the recording because it's so cringe. But this is our 15th episode, and I'm looking forward to my break tomorrow. But with the 15th episode, I see myself getting more comfortable. And I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that growth. I'm very happy that I'm given the opportunity to learn a new skill. Another thing is I tried to record a commercial. Hardest thing. I'm supposed to memorize a line that is about 30 seconds long. 30 seconds. And I cannot just do it fully. So super massive shout out to our actors and actresses. I like how I learned that perspective and how hard that job actually is. And so I have a lot more appreciation for people in that industry, in that industry now. Let's see. A lot of people, once I started posting live Coffee with Christine and a lot of other posts, my friends keep telling me, don't read the comments. Don't read the comments, which is very interesting. Again, in my, I don't want to say past, but in the work that I do, it's important to have a tough skin. And I still do, but I do read the comments. I do read every single one of them. And I actually go further and I respond to them. And the reason is that I think being able to randomly comment on videos is still a pretty new process for us, for the human for the human race. And then so I want to make sure that that it's not they're not just speaking to avoid, that for good or bad, that there's a person, that they realize that there's a person on the other line. There are some mean comments which surprised me. I mean, I guess it's one of those that it's coming, but once it's there, you're still like a little bit surprised. Like I just had one this morning, and of course, it helped me wake up. So in that regards, it's still beneficial. And this comment I want to expand on. So that person, it's in one of my videos. Right away, they said it's a short. They said that I look too nice, and that I won't be able to make a difference, and that in California we need someone who's not that. That's an interesting statement because, first of all, that was a 30-second clip. That's a 30-second clip, and I got judged for a 30-second video. Nothing about my policy, nothing about my experiences, nothing about all those things. It's just they see a person, and I guess she speaks nice or look like she's nice, whatever nice means for that person. And then right away, it's like that is my whole character in that 30-second video. The interesting part is that it's not just one person. The other people, they saw a longer video. Maybe I don't know, because they could have jumped out. So my speech, and they said the same. And in some ways, that one is it gives me an interesting feeling because as a nurse and as a mother, all nurses will tell you this, but mothers would. I guess it's a certain type of style. So let's focus on the nursing. Every nurse will tell you that really is how it's done, because if someone is like in pain and you're being all sassy, it's really not therapeutic. It's not, most of the time. It's not good for them to trust you with their thoughts and feelings, because when you do assessment, you need to be able to have like all the data. They need to be able to be comfortable with you. And of course, people don't mind most of the time, I guess, unless it's politics. People don't mind kindness, especially when they're in pain. So a lot of these nurses, they look very, very sweet. but or nice, or both, but they get the job done. That's really the job. Is we have to we are your advocates. Talk to any nurse, and we will go against anyone for you, like anyone. There's no, especially here in America, there's no such thing as we just have to bow to a certain position. If we think that that's not what is right for you, or not what you want, which is a big thing, not what you want. It's not necessarily what is needed, but our job is to say, what do you need? What do you want done? And I got you. But we say it in a way that is sweet and nice. But I guess people think that that's not, that work don't get done that way, which is kind of sad. But it is their opinion. And on top of that, I guess that's not such a bad comment. But there are some other comments that are a little bit more, I guess, stronger. And I'm trying to remind myself that there's a lot of beautiful people out there, beautiful soul. And I say that that's always part of my speech. It's always part of my statements, how I really believe in the kindness of people. And I really believe that all people want the same thing. So the interesting part is that, I have to remind myself, which is a conscious decision, which is fine, that these are minorities. These are not the majority of people. So even though, it's cool that they're participating and saying things. Oh, and they help with the algorithm because there's a discussion. So that also is pretty helpful. So I try to look at the positive. So I remind myself that that's not the voice of the majority, and that majority have good intentions. Majority are trying to do what's right for them, right? You don't know where they come from in terms of their pain, and sometimes they lash out. I have this person, very interesting, and they actually commented on one of my video and said, oh, I'm gonna watch what you say about, what was I think I was talking about hospice. They said, I'm gonna watch what you say about hospice to see if I can report you to the board of nursing. Like, and it's just, I'm like, dude, like, it's I guess it's just funny. Let's just say it's funny. But you get people like that, and I think the more I get some traction, the more I'm gonna get these type of responses. And again, hey, at the end of the day, it helps with the algorithm. So you know what? Comment away. But hopefully, when you vote, you're really not depending on just a 30-second clip. One thing that is big and I want to discuss is that when I decided to run for governor, I know that it's going to be a challenge with everything that I have. In terms of, I'm not a politician. That's not a line. That's true. I'm not a politician. I've never run for office. I'm not really a popular person in the sense that I'm active in social media or like parties and things like that. I don't have that type of money. So all those challenges I know are existing even prior to me deciding to fully commit to this. One thing I didn't calculate for, which I hope change for future people that wants to run, is the media. So when we talk about the money, how come you need millions of dollars for a campaign, right? It's the money really goes to telling people your story. The money really goes in like getting your message out there. I think I have a strong message, and I think I have a strong character, and I think I have a strong experience. Although I'm too nice, according to some people. I'm kidding. Like, it's just those comments. I've never heard I'm too nice in any of my jobs. I'm actually the person that always get things done. But anyways, so I guess you need mainly the money to reach this 39 million people. And I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll try our best. But this is the problem. We actually reach out to a lot of different news, and though they don't even answer. So it's almost like that's one of the things I didn't calculate for is they almost gatekeep. They gatekeep what you will know. Like they gatekeep. They talk about, oh, this 8 gubernatorial candidates. I'm like, dude, it's not 8. There's more of us, and they don't give you the time of day unless they consider you valid, which is in their book. It's always about money. And this is the thing about money, which I think maybe the dude who made that comment has a point. I'm not a rich person. Like I work 2 jobs, and I'm pretty good with money. One of the other reasons why I'm running, because I really think that I can do it, knowing my experience with money. And my friends and my family are also not rich people. So the argument is that we have an affordability issue in California. And then for me, it feels almost wrong to, even though I know my friends and my family are already feeling the squeeze of just how expensive California is, it feels wrong for me to even ask them, for more. There are some people that donated, and I appreciate it. And if you are interested in donating, it's on the website. But for the most part, I don't want to spend my campaign asking for money so I can get more people to talk to ask them more for more money, so that I can get even more people to talk to. You know what I mean? It's like the goal has been to just raise funds, but it feels wrong. I was actually joking with my husband, and we're saying that, hey, maybe if I win with this very, very little fund, maybe maybe I deserve to win. Maybe whatever, I do in terms of resource for this campaign, I can do in Sacramento. But it is kind of sad that the press don't respond. And I guess how it works, and I guess this is legal, I didn't know, you have to pay them. Like, you have to pay them to write an article for you. You have to pay them to feature you. They actually have people that you just pay, so they would keep you relevant in the news, and they would put you every Monday morning, and they look at the algorithms. It's like, okay, people read the news at this time, people do this at this time, so it's a good way to expose. I don't know how much they get paid. It seems significant, but that just feels wrong. That's because you think it's news. I guess that's the interesting part. We think it's news when we see like all these things, but even when you're listening to the news, and they would just always mention the same person, most of the time they're not mentioning them because they're worth mentioning. They're mentioning them because they got paid to mention their name so people can hear it. And again, everyone's kind of doing their own technique and style in trying to get to that 39 million people. But I just wish that the press will be a little bit better in terms of giving a chance, doing research and giving a chance to people, the other people that are qualified and are in the ballot, in making sure that the people hear about them also, even if it's just, like an hour. I don't think that's such a bad idea. I want to give a shout out to Mr. J. So Mr. J is probably my first conversation outside of my family and friends. So Mr. J is a political. I don't know he's in YouTube a lot, but he's active in the political scene. And I reach out to him to tell him that I'm running, to see if he can help me. And he actually responded like right away, which I appreciated, because once he responded, it made it solidify that, hey, maybe you have a story that is worth sharing. I mean, I've always thought that, and my friends, of course, have always loved and supported me. But going out to people that don't really know you, it was interesting, and it was cool to know that is the case. I want to say also, this one is complicated. So if you're running, do your research. Banks. like getting money is actually there's a lot of law regarding it, which is good. But people are still doing loopholes. We might discuss that in next week. We might discuss those loopholes when it comes to campaign funds. But people are very strict when it comes to managing campaign. It has to be, everything should be recorded. It was really very, very hard to open a bank because you need a different bank to make to make sure that it's going to that specific place instead of your own personal bank. That's like a big no-no. So that one is a challenge. That one is a challenge as well. The last thing I want to say, I'm sorry, because it's 7:15. The last thing I want to say is, one more before we move that. Even organizations like CEIU, the union, you'd think that the union will be happy to represent their people, right? The people that they're within their organization, but they won't. They don't even want to talk to me. There's no way to call them. I talked to a few, but they were like, that super low level union members, and they're like, oh, sorry, we already picked, and they pick Swalwell, who eventually dropped out. And then so now I'm trying to get like a moment with them to say, yo, I'm not asking for endorsement, but can you at least tell our people that I'm running, that someone that is part of them is running. And yeah, it's been a dead end still. We're going to keep trying to see what it is. But, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of interesting how much control these different groups have in terms of politics. They might not directly control it, but there's a lot of forces on the back and the back in the shadows that control a lot of these things, and we just don't know about. But it's cool. We have coffee with Christine. We're gonna talk about them because I need materials for the whole month of May. Let's see. No. We talk about so the last thing I want to say is that emails. I got a lot of emails, getting a lot of emails, and a lot of them are asking for my position in certain things, like NRA, Mothers Against Guns, and the interesting part is that some of them, most of them, are conflicting, and they're like, oh, and they would say, oh, we have this many member, and yeah, if you want almost like saying, if you want our support, we want you to speak to us about how you feel about these different causes. I'm trying my very best, of course, to answer all of them, but it's a lot. So if I haven't submitted the form that you requested, I'm sorry. I'll try to do it, but it's a pretty busy process that a lot of people are asking a lot of different things, and I want them to feel important and I want them to feel heard. That's why I try to complete these forms. But yeah, it's just not easy because some of these forms are super long and they're asking for a lot of things that it's not it's not an ABCD question, obviously. So you need to explain yourself and whatnot. But it's really fun. And I do want to say the last shout out. So 719, I'm so sorry, I've been talking. So the last thing I want to say is that I really appreciate some people. There is some people like Mr. Val. Shout out to him. Who made the article. We asked if he can make an article about me, just to show the Filipino American community, and he was actually pretty cool and just said yes right away. And so that's really cool. So people that are able to, first of all, respond, even like a no would have been nice, but just like completely ignoring you is kind of sad. But anywho, so yeah, so he was able to create that article, and now I saw a few more. So a few more people are creating some content and article and putting it on Instagram about me, and I really appreciate that because it's reaching a further community that unfortunately me by myself and us poor candidates being blocked by the media, we have usually no means of reaching. I was making a joke to my friends that these posts about me gets more liked and gets more comment than my actual videos and my actual posts. So that's interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, you like me there, but in here it's not. I'm just kidding. But that part is, I think, is pretty cool, and I really appreciate that, and I hope that people are I hope that people get to know me a little bit more. The last thing I want to say is this, and I've said this often. My goal for running really is my goal for the running part really is to give people option, to give regular people like us a voice, to give the people who go, dude, they all sound the same, or say politicians again, someone who's kind of done with how things have been done forever and ever, to give them an opportunity to have someone else in the ballot. So that's the goal. So that's why I'm doing this Coffee with Christine. That's why I'm taking all this effort, because once everything is said and done in June 2nd, I want to be able to at least say that I tried my best to introduce myself to you. You don't have to vote for me if you don't want to, but I want you to know that I'm here. So that's the goal. And yeah, so things happen fast, and it's like a roller coaster right here. It's like, oh, no one noticed me, and then all of a sudden they make an article. So the emotions are very up and down. And so the 12 weeks I know for the last 3 months, what I know is this: the game is not done, and a month is a long time. Let's see what this month can do. If you are listening, I would appreciate your support, not in money, but just to spread the news that there's someone like us, someone like me that's running for governor. And then they can say I'm too nice or whatever the case may be, but at least they know that I exist. That's the only ask. So if you're listening, I would appreciate if you can share this or like it, or just, I think share is perhaps better, or comment, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But I'm sure it feels like it's gonna be a good May. And thank you for joining me in this crazy ride. As always, I didn't have the time to finish my coffee because I talk a lot. And I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Happy May. I hope everyone has a beautiful month, and I'll see you guys Monday. Bye.